South China Morning Post, 13th of April 2024, Pakistani police have linked lethal attacks on Chinese laborers to the broken switch terror cell of a Taliban affiliate. 5 Chinese nationals were killed in a vehicular suicide bombing in the northwest Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province of Pakistan last month. Police investigations into the incident have uncovered evidence connecting it to an identical attack in the same region in July 2021. The 2 assaults, which specifically targeted personnel of China Gezhouba Group Co, CGGC, engaged in dam construction, are thought to have been executed by an identical faction of the Pakistani Taliban, led by militants originating from the Kohistan region, according to 3 senior police officers who spoke to This Week in Asia on the condition of anonymity due to media restrictions. As a convoy of security escort vehicles and buses transporting workers from the Dasu hydropower project attempted to pass them on the Karakoram Highway, the only land connection between Pakistan and China's Xinjiang region, suicide bombers in both incidents detonated vehicles loaded with explosives. 9 Chinese nationals were slain in the July 2021 assault that occurred previously on the highway. Used second-hand Japanese automobiles, a Honda Accord in 2021 and a Suzuki Vitz last month, carried out both bombings from Afghanistan across the border. Police were able to track the suicide bombers' movements from Khost City in eastern Afghanistan to the Chaman border crossing in Pakistan's western Balochistan province by utilizing a SIM card that was recovered from the location of the March 26 attack. Although the police suspect that the assailant was an Afghan national, DNA testing is being conducted to validate their suspicions. It is believed that he traveled over 1,000 kilometers north from Chaman to the town of Chakdara, traversing several security checkpoints in regions afflicted by persistent assaults, all the while evading a search of the vehicle loaded with explosives. Police say Shafiq Ahmed, who was employed at a government school in Kohistan, encountered the bomber at an auto showroom in Chakdara. Ahmed accompanied the perpetrator on March 15 as he traveled from Chakdara to Bishan, in the vicinity of which the subsequent attack occurred. The following day, after leaving the vehicle overnight at a nearby gas station, they traveled to Ogi district, a nearby isolated region notorious for being a haven for criminals and terrorists, to meet Hazrat Bilal, the head of the terrorism cell and another native of Kohistan. Police say Bilal was also involved in the July 2021 attack, however, he has managed to elude apprehension by altering his appearance frequently. Police stated that at 6:17 a.m. on March 26, the suicide bomber and his guide returned to Bishan, where they awaited the CGGC convoy. They knew its approach because laborers were transported from Dasu to Islamabad at predetermined times every other day. 11 minutes later, at 12:49 p.m., Ahmed, operating as a spotter, reported the bomber of the convoy's arrival in Bishan. The bomber launched his assault at Lahore Nullah, located approximately 3.5 kilometers in advance. The explosion's detonation instantaneously killed the driver of the bus. The vehicle veered off the highway and descended approximately 50 meters into a ravine, where it ignited bushes. Immediately following the attack on the outskirts of Bishan, 2 men, believed to be Bilal and Ahmed, were overheard in a monitored mobile phone call exchanging congratulations and discussing the fatal consequences of the explosion. The conversation centered around the lethal outcome of the event. Bilal, one of the 2 buses transporting CGGC employees, expressed his dismay that the other bus had only sustained minimal damage. This Week in Asia, along with emergency services, arrived at the location minutes later and discovered the Chinese passengers of the second bus concealed beneath a vehicle in the ravine, 500 meters from the highway. They were rendered speechless and profoundly traumatized. Afghanistan is a haven for militants. The results have persuaded law enforcement officials that suicide bombers who were instructed in eastern Afghanistan by a faction of the Pakistani Taliban known as Tehrik-i-Taliban Pakistan, TTP, which Tariq Rafiq previously led until his alleged demise in Kunar province in July 2022, were responsible for both attacks. Tariq, colloquially referred to as button kharab, broken switch, acquired this peculiar moniker from TTP members following an incident in which a suicide bomber's vest he once designed failed to detonate during an attempted assault. Police stated that Bilal was a close associate of Tariq. The TTP has consistently denied any responsibility for the 2 attacks that occurred along the Karakoram Highway in Pakistan, both of which targeted Chinese nationals. Analysts hypothesize that this is because Taliban leaders and approximately 5,000 militants have sought refuge in Afghanistan during the Taliban regime, which has repeatedly denied Pakistani requests to neutralize and relocate the organization to prevent it from launching cross-border attacks. Pakistan, weary of the Taliban's obstinacy, attacked TTP targets in eastern Afghanistan via airstrike on March 18. The Taliban regime in Afghanistan maintains its demand that Pakistan and Tajikistan negotiate a political settlement with the group's affiliates within their respective territories. It contends that a strict response from these nations would only incite the militants to defect to Islamic State Khorasan Province, ISIS-K, the organization implicated in the March 22 terrorist attack in Moscow. Following the United States' withdrawal from Afghanistan in August 2021, the Taliban have endeavored to foster positive relations with Beijing and promote Chinese investment in the economically stagnant and impoverished nation. China considers the Taliban to be a vital security ally in its fight against Uyghur separatists in Afghanistan who are affiliated with ISIS-K and al-Qaeda cells. Beijing acknowledged the diplomatic credentials of the initial official envoy of the Taliban to China in February. The so-called Pakhtunkhwa group is a component of a freelance jihadist, semi-independent network that collaborates with the TTP and other affiliated organizations, according to terrorism researcher Ricardo Valle. He explained that it retains a certain level of autonomy about its internal attack planning. Valle thinks that Pakhtunkhwa may have managed the network despite having gone into seclusion after surviving the July 2022 assassination attempt. The TTP did not officially confirm his murder at the time. The organization merely stated that it had lost contact with him and was unaware of his whereabouts. However, official investigations into the 2021 attack unveiled that Pakhtunkhwa and his associates had established a militant network operating through familial connections that facilitated the lawful transportation of vehicles and explosives, according to Valle, director of research for the Khorasan Diary, an Islamabad-based security news and analysis platform specializing in Pakistan and Afghanistan. He concluded, therefore, whoever replaced Pakhtunkhwa may be utilizing the same network. According to the police officers who spoke with This Week in Asia, the same conclusion has been reached. Additionally, they voiced discontent regarding the security agencies responsible for safeguarding Chinese nationals engaged in projects in Pakistan, citing a shortage of coordination. This was apparent at the explosion's location on March 26. As reported by This Week in Asia, the security detail tasked with safeguarding the CGGC employees declined a police officer's request to relocate the terrified survivors, citing the possibility of a subsequent assault. The security deficiencies that precipitated the assault on March 26 have been formally attributed to the three most senior police officers in the area, all of whom were placed on suspension on Tuesday.